Hollisted, your Jedi warrior for Jesus. Today is November 26th, 2011, the day after Thanksgiving, the day now referred to in America as Black Friday. And, it's quite amazing because as the world sees chaos around the globe with extreme weather and civil unrest, rioting, war, that, we got Occupy Wall Street here in the United States. So, Thanksgiving is one of the few holidays in America where we can be thankful for everything we have and, be thankful, and think of others that don't have what we have. So Thanksgiving is maybe one of the more spiritual holidays in the United States. And whether you believe in God or not, you can think positive and be thankful for everything you have. But especially if you believe in God, you're thanking God for everything that you've got. But now we have this hideous thing called Black Friday, where people line up at stores at midnight or 2 in the morning and they fight each other and spray each other with pepper spray or even shoot each other with guns and have the mob mentality as they rush into the stores to buy. All kind of kicking off the Christmas season, the spirit of Christmas. And for me, unfortunately, nowadays, Christmas has evolved into this, kind of pathetic state, that we don't even celebrate Jesus' birth. And, he might not even have been born on Christmas, he might have been born, in September, but it really doesn't matter. Celebrating his birthday would be okay, except on Christmas now, we don't really think about Jesus and his birthday. It's more about Santa Claus and buying stuff, consuming, and Black Friday to me is just this, negativity. I can't even believe we have something called Black Friday following Thanksgiving. So, what does it all mean? I just think we've reached a point as a society, as a country, as a planet, as a people, where our focus is not where it needs to be. Our focus is on just materialistic things like, what am I going to buy today? And because of that, that's the change that's coming, is you have a choice. You can either stay with the system and the world as it is now, where you work your ass off for a job, and you try and get ahead of your bills, but you never do, and you keep going in debt, and you save for a future that never comes. Or maybe there's another path. And that other path, is actually the harder path, which is choosing not to be a part of the system, of the machine, of the status quo. So, what I'm thinking is the alternate choice, and I had part 1 of my Into the Wilderness series. Well, this is officially part 2 of Into the Wilderness. And, today I'm up here in Reno, Nevada. I'm out riding some dirt bikes and quad runners with some friends and family on Black Friday. But we're out in the wilderness, man. There's nothing out here. Imagine trying to have to survive out here. And in part 1, what I said is going into the wilderness could literally be going into the wilderness. How do you survive in the wilderness? But there was also another aspect of Into the Wilderness, which was it was a spiritual and mental thing, and it was about coming out of society or the system. And by coming out of the system, you lose all the support that the system gives you. Your social security card, your retirement benefits, your job, your bank account, your insurance, your house. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. Your cell phone, your internet connection. But it's all these things that in modern life we seem to say that we can't live without. Money, credit cards. And the question is, can you live without all that stuff? And if so, how? And the answer is by going into the wilderness, because in the wilderness you don't have any of that. And I believe in my heart when I read the Bible time and time again, from the beginning of time, God has called people out into the wilderness, where it's their first step of showing that they actually have faith in God. Because it's so easy, if you're in the system and you're in the machine, to say, oh yeah, I believe in God and I have faith in God. But then everything about the system is not about having faith in God or thinking about God or doing anything that has anything to do about God. It's about earning a paycheck, figuring out how to pay the bills, thinking about all the stuff you want to buy, from the commercials that you see on TV, rushing out at 2 in the morning on Black Friday and mobbing to get into the store for some kind of sale. That's what the other side of that coin is. But the wilderness side, there's none of that. But, once again, Abraham was called out of the land of Ur. The land of Ur was basically over there in Iran, kind of like the Babylon area, but he had no idea where he was going, but in faith to God, he left Ur into the wilderness. Moses was called into the wilderness. Even when he pulled the children of Israel out of Egypt, God sent them into the wilderness. Jesus went into the wilderness. Time and time again, the prophet Isaiah went into the wilderness. And what you find out is, in the wilderness, you can definitely go into the wilderness, and I recommend when in preparation of going into the wilderness, you might learn how to survive in the wilderness and prepare for the wilderness, like water, food, tents, survival techniques. But that being said, one aspect of the wilderness is that you eventually will be absolutely dependent on God. It's just a countdown of when you have that epiphany and reach that state. And that is the key to moving forward and choosing the right path and getting to the other side of whatever it is that's going to take place in the next couple of years. That you throw off the system, you throw off the dependency, you throw off the net that ensnares you, because that's what it takes to be in the system. Is you can't think about God, you got to worry about the system in the net. And you figure out how to go into the wilderness. And before you ever get to out here where there's nothing but rocks and stone and dirt and sun, where even just finding water is, a matter of life and death. But before you get out here, there's 100 steps you're going to have to take as part of your coming out of Babylon, or the system, the city, ghosting, going underground. Can you live without money, live without a bank account, live without a credit card, live without a job? Can you live without TV? Can you live without the internet? Can you live without a cell phone? Can you live without a car? Can you live without a microwave? Can you live without, your iTablet? These are all the questions we're going to have to ask ourselves. And you know what? Here I'm out in the wilderness and I'm using technology. I'm using a digital camera. So at least for a little while, you can have some things in the wilderness. But eventually, you might find yourself, out of batteries, out of supplies, and just saying, God help me, please. forming a new covenant, a new relationship, a new way of living, a new way of thinking, a new way of seeing things, a new way of seeing others. And that might be the first step to a change that could save our planet. Because the way we're going now with all these unsustainable systems is a path to destruction. And everything we see around us in life is taking us in that direction. Alright, I gotta get back to the family. I'm gonna take a ride on one of these trails. This is Ben Hellisted, your Jedi Warrior for Jesus, with Into the Wilderness Part 2. And I'm in the wilderness, enjoying it. Alright, take care, God bless. It's Operation End Times.